Okay, as I said, we're joined by a special guest, Premier of Saskatchewan, Mr. Brad Wall, who's going to make a special announcement with Graham, and I'll turn it over to them at this time.
Sure. Well, first of all, thanks very much. Thanks everyone for attending this this press conference. It's a pretty exciting day for some excellent Saskatchewan companies, for the government of Saskatchewan, for the people of the province, to be able to make this announcement and unveil a brand new logo that Graham will be wearing for the Canadian Open and the rest of this year and next. In fact, he had it, I think he was rocking it on the last 2 days of the Open Championship there as well. We have a few pictures we've been tweeting out. You know, Saskatchewan's been very lucky for the last number of years. We're growing. Today, the retail sales numbers came out for the country, and we were number one in terms of growth, number two year over year, and number one month to month. There's these statistics that come out regularly, and we're very fortunate to be an economic leader in the country. We don't take it for granted, though. We're not complacent about it. We're always looking to promote the province. We're looking for ways that we can involve those who are successful in province and out of province to be a part of that, and that's what we're announcing here today. The last couple seasons, I'm a big golf fan, a golf nerd, some might say, and I've been watching Graham's career and just thinking, man, if there was only a way we could leverage what he's doing, not just because of what the kind of golfer he is, but because of the kind of guy he is, the kind of ambassador he would be for the province. And so we came upon the idea of using a website portal. We already have part of our growth plan was to establish a better online presence, and we have a brand called thinksask.ca, which drives the visitor, whether they're residents or potential investors, to important facts and information they might need about the province. And it's pretty successful, but it's helpful if you have somebody who is quite famous, for example, driving that traffic to the website. And I guess that's where the idea came from. I had the chance to make a call to a few of our great companies, our great corporate citizens, and it took off from there. And they're going to be introduced. The representatives of those companies are going to be introduced here in a moment by Foster, but they include the Brandt Group of companies, and the individuals, again, will be introduced. They include Cameco. They include the Potash Corporation of Saskatchewan, Viterra, and Magna Electric. Frankly, there was a lot of other interest as well, and there might be other ambassadors down the road. But I'm going to turn it over to Foss to explain a little bit more about the alliance, and then I'll quickly introduce Graham. I know you will have questions related to things beyond this particular announcement, but I want to introduce him here in a bit. So, Foss.
Thanks, Brad. I'm Foster Weisgerber, Corporate Secretary for the Saskatchewan Ambassador Alliance Corp. The Alliance Corp was incorporated under the Nonprofit Corporations Act, specifically for the purpose of promoting Saskatchewan by partnering with prominent individuals who display the type of qualities that make them a great ambassador of the province. 5 corporate partners joined together to fund and sponsor this event, specifically Brandt Group of Companies, Cameco Corporation, Magna Electric Corporation, Potash Corp, and Viterra Inc. And these corporate partners are funding Graham DeLaet. My notes initially said up-and-coming Graham DeLaet, but I think he's arrived, so it's not really necessary. We have some representatives from those corporations here today. We have Sean Semple from Brandt Group of Companies, Jonathan Huntington with Cameco Corporation, Kerry Hyde from Magna Electric, and Kyle Jaworski from Viterra Inc. Graham already was a great ambassador for the province, but now we're proud to make him part of the Ambassador Alliance and sort of formalize the arrangement. And I think Brad is equally proud of that, and to introduce Graham.
Sure. Well, he is the 32nd ranked golfer on the PGA money list as of today. I was on the website today. He, I think, is ranked currently 25th in FedEx Cup standings. He has 5 top 10 finishes this year. I think now he's one behind Phil Mickelson, Tiger Woods, and Lee Westwood in this regard. He leads the PGA Tour in greens and regulation, which is a crazy stat. He leads the entire tour in that particular stat. Ranked 13th in proximity to the hole, 14th in driving distance. He is ranked 19th in scoring average, ahead of Dustin Johnson and Bubba Watson. And he single-handedly has caused American golf broadcasters to learn how to pronounce Saskatchewan, which is even Vern Lundquist had it right a couple tournaments ago, which is also a big promotion for the province. But best of all, he's the quintessential Saskatchewan guy. He's a great guy. He's never forgotten his roots, his Saskatchewan or his Canadian roots. We all saw him a few tournaments ago with Calgary written on his hat and the donations he was making for Birdies and Eagles back to the flood effort. He was just back in Saskatchewan. We saw each other a couple weeks ago raising money for junior golf there in the Weyburn Saskatchewan Hospital Foundation. He's a great guy. And even more important than all of his golf accomplishments and skills, that's why we're so very proud to have this ambassadorship go to him, the first one. And I just want to say thanks very much to the 5 companies that have been acknowledged. They've really stepped forward to make this possible. And it's good for the province. We think it'll be good for Graham, and the companies deserve a lot of credit for their ongoing leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll turn it over to Graham.
Thanks, Brad. Yeah, just to reiterate what Brad said, obviously without the 5 companies, this wouldn't have come together. And then, Brad's one of my biggest fans, I know for sure, because he's always tweeting me more than my wife. So, I'm proud to be from Saskatchewan, proud Canadian. I think the Saskatchewan way of life is hardworking. And, I kind of feel like I fit that mold being out here and, still trying to get better, but, I guess that's about it.
Any questions for Brad or Graham relating to the announcement? Ian? We have microphones to pass around. We're just going to get the microphones.
Okay. Graham, just a story I heard today, going back to 2008 when you were still playing on the Canadian Tour. Apparently, there was a tournament there where you'd run out of money, and you were going off to Montreal, which is a tournament you eventually won. Do you remember? Apparently, there was someone who gave you $5,000. Was that true?
Yeah, originally when I turned professional, I was lucky enough to have a great guy named Mark Hedge from Las Vegas. He was a good friend of my coach at Boise State, and he kind of gave me the funds to kind of get going. And I had run out. I was playing poorly that year. I think I'd missed 5 or 6 cuts on the what was then the Canadian Tour, PGA Tour Canada. And I was close to. I had 1 or 2 more tournaments left in my bank account, basically, and. It just so happened. I don't know how it all worked out. I kind of turned my game around. We had 3 weeks off there before Montreal, and went home and practiced. And I kind of figured like this is kind of the last shot. Let's make it happen. And then I ended up, I finished first there, and then I finished second the next 2 weeks, and that was what kind of propelled my career. And it's amazing how close it could have been. I think I probably would have scratched and clawed and tried to find some more funding, because I did truly believe in myself, and I thought that I had what it took. But without Mark, and he's a big part of why I'm here today. And yeah, like who knows what would have happened? I guess. Yeah.
Tell me about playing in Saskatchewan. I know you guys have sand greens out there, don't you? You play a lot of sand greens, don't you?
When I grew up, not in like any of the the cities or towns, but some of the real small towns. Like I had some good friends that we're farm kids, and we go out and play some sand greens once in a while. I never played in any tournaments on sand greens. I know my phys ed teacher in high school, though, he was trying to get me to play in the provincial sand green championship, but I never did. I don't know why.
I know when to talk.
The sand greens, of course, are far apart, and so considering we're all on horseback and carts, it's tough to get.
No, I didn't mean it that way. Actually, you know who brought that up? Wendell Clark brought that up. Yeah. So he's just getting back to how you feeling now. You obviously made the trip across the Atlantic. You played the Pro-Am yesterday.
Yeah, I'm just a little tired. My sleeping patterns are pretty much back on track here, just right out of the gates as soon as we got back. So I think I just kind of need a couple good nights sleep, and I should be ready to go. But feeling good physically, and just make sure that I get enough rest here the next couple days.
Okay.
If there are any questions just related to the announcement, we'll get to those.
Oh,
and then
I'm sorry.
that's all right. We'll get to the
okay.
RBC Canadian Open questions a little bit after.
Oh,
but
I'm sorry. I didn't
just
realize
before
I
we
was-
move on, are there any questions relating to today's announcement?
How long is it for? How long is the partnership for, and what's expected of Graham?
We ventured into this arrangement until September of next year, so September 2014. Graham's going to be wearing the Think Sass logo on his shirt at tournaments and other media appearances and public things that he does. and he has an arrangement to come back and do some appearances back in Saskatchewan as well.
Any other questions relating to the announcement today?
Yes.
Yes.
Brad, you used the term quintessential Saskatchewan. I just wondering if you can define what you think that means, and Graham, if you can define what that means.
Sure. Well, Saskatchewan right now, and by the way, this is not because of the government. This is because of companies like you see here in small business women and men and the people of the province. But Saskatchewan right now is leading. It's excelling. It's heading in the right direction. We have a lot of momentum as a province. But if you spend any time there, you'll know that none of it has gotten to anyone's head. We're not spiking the ball in the end zone. People in Saskatchewan are grateful for their status as a half province, but they're keeping their head down. They're working hard. They're humble, and they never sort of get above their raisin, to use a phrase like that. They never get ahead of themselves, and I think that describes Graham. That describes not only his golf talents in terms of how much he's excelling right now, but if you know him at all, it describes the kind of guy he is, and that's why I think he's the perfect ambassador.
Yeah, I mean, for myself, like I mean, obviously I agree with Brad, and like I think of like hockey players in Saskatchewan who are, you know, we grew up in every small town has their own rink, and you get out there on the ice and you get extra ice time, and you can just go out anytime you want, and kids develop. And I mean, we've got a lot of players in the NHL, you know, coming out of really small towns, and it's the same sort of thing. I mean, I grew up at the Weyburn Golf Club, where I mean, we were out there every single day because we loved it. But I think, you know, like I said earlier, the reason that I got to where I'm at is because I worked hard. And I mean, you see it with every single farmer and all the guys in the oil crew and the potash guys. And I mean, I think just in general, Saskatchewan, just, you know, people are just hardworking guys.
Just be remiss not to acknowledge Dave Dubé, who I know has been in the center here earlier, but Dave's a friend and another great business leader in our province who made some other news here in the golf world, and another reason for Saskatchewan to be very, very proud today. And I just want to acknowledge that. He's got to go back in a few months to continue to work on behalf of the U of S Husky football team and all the other things he does. But Dave, thanks very much for your continued leadership in the province.
Okay, any other questions relating to the announcement today? Okay, so let's open it up for some questions about the RBC Canadian Open. Graham, obviously having a great year with the career best finish at the Travelers Championship and playing your first major last week. So we'll just open it up for any questions about that.
If I could just ask one more question, Graham, just regarding the announcement with Dave Dubé and what's going on behind the scenes, just a comment from you on just what is happening and what your thoughts are for the future.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a super smooth transition for all of the guys who were previously at Landmark. I think it's going to be beneficial for all of us, you know, joining a little bit of a bigger group. I mean, we've got pretty much all the top Canadian players in golf, you know, on the roster. And I think more than anything, it's just exciting for all of us involved.
Any other questions? Just raise your hand. We'll get you a microphone.
Hi, Graham. Just curious, your thoughts. Right now, you're about 13th, I guess, you know, in the international standings for the President's Cup. I mean, do you see, like, this week and weeks coming up, what are your thoughts kind of on your ambitions to make that team?
Well, my ambitions are very high, I can guarantee you that. I mean, starting the year, that was definitely one of my main goals and was on my radar. We had a President's Cup meeting with, you know, Nick Price at Columbus this year, and with potential members of the team. We got fitted for clothes and that kind of thing. And, you know, some of the players poured their hearts out, you know, just telling how much it meant for them to play on that team and what it would mean to win. And, you know, I was just getting goosebumps in that room, you know, sitting with some of the best players in the world. And, I mean, it was at that time where I really, really wanted it. And, I mean, you know, the only way to make that team for me is to play good golf. And so, I mean, that's a goal, but I mean, I got to just focus on the process, and that's, you know, hitting every shot the best I can, and, you know, playing solid golf day by day and tournament by tournament. And, you know, hopefully my goal is to be in the top 10, so I don't have to wait on any kind of captain's pick. And if I get picked, if I'm not in that top 10, great. And if not, I mean, that's just kind of how it goes, and I'll wait for 2 years to try to make it again.
Any other questions for Graham? Yeah.
Graham, just going back to the statistics, I mean, I know sometimes statistics can be misleading a little bit, but obviously it's very impressive that you're leading the tour in greens and regulation and your ball striking, total driving, all up there. It seems the one stat, and I know sometimes when people write stories about you, they talk about your putting, but the one stat is the proximity of the hole with your scoring clubs, your wedges and your short irons, it's around 90th to 100. Do you feel that's something you need to improve on, and do you feel that's maybe one of the reasons why some people say you don't make enough birdie putts?
I guess I would be fair to say I can guarantee that I'm working on everything. You know, with my short game, I feel like it's improved drastically this year. Holding a lot more putts. I mean, I've gone from about 150th to about 80th, 90th on the strokes gained putting this year, which is probably the best putting statistic. And I mean, I know that 90th is not a great statistic, but it's a hell of a lot better than 150th. So, you know, I've been working with Gabriel Yetstead on my short game for the last 2 years, basically now, and I think it's like accumulation of everything coming together. Like, I mean, I can hit these shots around the green when I'm at TPC Scottsdale messing around, and now I feel like I'm starting to trust myself on the golf course and be able to hit those shots. We work a lot on wedges as well, and I think that's coming along. But there's no question that, you know, when you play with guys who are really good from inside 100 yards and they make it look really easy, and I think to get to that next level, you know, which is where I would like to be, I'd have to clean that up a little bit, yeah.
Yes, so a question at the back there. If you don't mind, please. Thanks.
Thank you. Graham, as a younger guy, do you feel like you have a chance here to change the landscape of Canadian golf?
Well, I mean, we're not trying to change the landscape. All the guys that are in the field, and I think we've got a great core of Canadian golfers here this year, maybe as good as I've seen. I played with a few guys here this morning, some of the young guys who are not PGA Tour players, and there's no question there's a ton of talent in this country, and it's only a matter of time really before we start seeing it. Would I like to win this golf tournament and hopefully change the landscape? Absolutely. I mean, I'm going to do everything I can, you know, starting yesterday to hopefully be, you know, on that 18th green late Sunday afternoon.
He's already done it in Saskatchewan in a big way.
Okay, any other questions for Graham DeLaet? Yes, sure. Here, lunch.
Graham, picking up on that, I'm just wondering, given the year that you're having and given the way you've climbed the world rankings and also the money list and FedEx Cup list, do you feel any more pressure this week than you have in the past playing in this tournament?
You know, if anything, I think I feel maybe just slightly more comfortable. I think coming into this tournament, the previous 4 times that I've played it, I always came in wanting to play good, and I believe this year that I can play well. Whether I do or not, you know, that's going to be found out on Thursday through Sunday. But I really feel like my game's in a good place. My confidence is high. I feel like it's just kind of rolling. I got a great team around me, and I mean, that's all we can really do. But I think I truly believe that if I play good golf, I can be in the hunt, and that's kind of just the main thing. And you never know if you're going to win or not, but you know, I'd love to put 4 good rounds of golf together because I've never done that at the Canadian Open.
All right, one more.
Since you got into the hypothetical a little bit earlier with where your career might have gone had it not worked out in 08, what do you think you would have done if you had have abandoned golf? Did you ever have a plan B?
No, not really. I'm sure that I would have stayed in the golf business of some sort. I mean, I would love to help out kids. I think when my career is done, I would love to give back to that. I think that would be, I have no question that I'd either be coaching in college or maybe with Golf Canada or Golf Saskatchewan or something like that, because that's kind of where my heart is. And I mean, that's all I really know is golf. I wasn't a very good student, but in all reality, yeah, I'd be in the golf world somewhere.
Okay, well, thanks very much, Graham DeLaet, Premier Wall, and everyone from Think Sask for your time today. And best of luck in the tournament.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks.